Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Leah's still getting some stuff up. This video that we're going to show you, I'm hoping we can play it on YouTube because we're live on YouTube, is going to be the most powerful thing that you see all day, probably all week. We have been covering extensively Pastor Artur Pawlowski in Canada. He's Polish, but he is a Canadian pastor. And Canada has gone, like you said, and had me put in the title, full Gestapo, bringing like SWAT teams to come and arrest this man. Now,
in the middle of the street.
In the middle of the street.
The highway here, it looks
This is going to be an intense show, but it's also Mother's Day. So, happy Mother's Day. So, if you're watching us live, let me pull up the chat and make sure you guys can hear us and we're all A-okay. And you're watching us on YouTube. I'm so glad that you're here. You're not going to watch the whole show on YouTube because there's stuff that we're going to want to talk about that we can't show on YouTube. So you're going to need to go to resistancechicks.com and find all of the links for everywhere else that we are live right now, including Twitch, DLive, Facebook, and CloutHub.
I don't know if you could even cue up the interview we did with Ricky Skaggs at the point where he starts to talk about Pastor Pawlov, because it's at the end of the interview. We interviewed country music star, Hall of Famer Ricky Skaggs at the Health and Freedom Conference. And I asked him if you had one message for pastors in the United States.
Yeah.
And he said, go watch my interview with His Glory. And we talked about Pastor Artur Pawlowski. He puts out a video, basically, you know, I didn't suicide myself, but it's a video at the end of this arrest video, and it's to promote the SaveArtur.com. He says, I'm queuing this up for you so you're not shocked when you see it. If I've been arrested, then you're going to see this video. Or if you're seeing this video, if I've been arrested. And I'm going to bring you good news.
We love good news.
I'm going to turn this into some fantastic news.
Okay.
God is going to use this in a very powerful way. Here's the thing. The powers that be do not have the power that they think they have. Canada, while not overtly Christian in the same way as, oh, she needs her blankie and her pen, in the same way as the United States, still is a Christian nation with Christian principles and Christian morals.
Right.
And they're polite. And the one thing you don't do in polite society is arrest pastors.
That's such a good point.
Okay, so
it's not done. It's just not done. So you want me to pull up this video, or do you want to play
go ahead
it?
and play this arrest video, and I'm going to show a video for you just an hour before this.
Oh, here you guys can see. This is us on DLive. If you're not familiar with DLive, before I switch over screens here.
Are we live on CloutHub and Twitch too?
We are live on CloutHub and Twitch. Will it be with the one that has Sheila Gunn Reid or the other one? I've got two windows open for you. Do you know?
It's going to be with Sheila Gunn Reid.
All right.
But I just pulled this up, so you might not actually have it up.
Is it on YouTube?
No.
It says YouTube.
Yeah, but this might not be the last one up, because I think I pulled it up after I
know, but I can just go to YouTube and find it, right?
Maybe. They're probably leaving it up. Pastor Artur Pawlowski TV. It's right here.
Is it this one? Mm-hmm. You want me to just play it from Twitter? It's only a minute long.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna listen to this. I actually have not seen this. I heard Leah watching it and she showed me a little bit of it, but
If you're not recording, it's backwards. Right now, one more.
This is the pastor.
He has his Sunday clothes on.
No, because he was arrested yesterday.
Hello friends,
they
this is
do church
Pastor
on Saturday
Pawlowski.
there.
If you're watching this video, that means they have successfully arrested me and I am in jail. If you would like to support me, if you would like to support Rebel News and the legal team that is trying their best to get me out of this trouble, please go to SaveArtur.com. Please donate, please help me, help my family, help my wife and my children to get me out of this horrible, illegal situation. Please go to SaveArtur.com and get me out of this if you can.
They did it.
I'm gonna mute that. We're just gonna play it again.
They did not rob a bank. They didn't speed.
They didn't murder anyone.
They didn't jaywalk. They held church. They opened up their church. Now, let me put this in perspective because maybe some people in Canada or around the world are like, well, those are the rules.
Oh my gosh.
Even here,
Those people shouldn't be watching our show.
Even here in Ohio, where we have Dictator DeWine, he never closed down the churches. And he never actually put a capacity. He put a suggested capacity on.
Right.
But nobody in Ohio has been arrested for holding church.
And it's bad here.
Now, and the Health and Freedom Conference in Tampa, Florida, it's being held at a church by a Pastor Rodney Howard Brown, who has a mugshot because he was arrested for holding church services. And in defiance, he has held church every day since 361 days.
And they have revival breaking out.
They have 1,000 people there every night. And so when he heard about Clay Clark's Health and Freedom Conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I want to give you guys a little backstory because Clay had a interesting program. It was yesterday, today. I listened to part of it, and he had Sam Sorbo, Hercules' wife, on. And she is an outspoken conservative woman. She homeschools her kids. She talks about the indoctrination of public school system. She even admitted on that show because, Clay Clark was asking her to talk to moms who are going before the school boards and things like that. And she's like, well, I got to admit that when they started closing down the schools, I sided with the lefties because I wanted all the indoctrination centers closed down. And I raised my hand and I said, yes, I'm with you, sister.
Oh my gosh. See?
I am with you, sister, because as long as those indoctrination sisters, I am not the conservative calling for the schools to be opened. I am, however, saying that if they are open and you're sending your kid to school and you put a mask on them.
No masks.
That is a crazy thing, and YouTube could get us for that.
That's right, I forgot.
That's craziness on YouTube.
Right. Maybe masks are something.
For Halloween.
Right.
Yes.
Children should wear masks on Halloween.
Yeah.
I just said that for YouTube's sake.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Just to catch the algorithm in a funk, like, wait a minute, what?
Wait, what did they say?
Yeah.
Children should wear masks on Halloween.
Children should wear masks.
Right?
All the time. Okay.
I don't know if it works that way.
I don't know. We'll see. So Rodney Howard Brown heard about the Health and Freedom Conference, and he called up Clay. This is how this went down. And he said, come and do one at my church.
Whoop, whoop.
We'll do 10,000.
10,000.
So Rodney Howard Brown is
That sounds like a scripture.
The process. It's going to be outside, so dress accordingly.
But it's Florida.
Yeah, well, dress accordingly. It could be warm. It's, in June.
Right?
But he's building a dome for 10,000 people.
You're kidding.
To be outside, yes.
They're building a dome just for...
Yeah.
I'm so excited. We're going to this. Mostly, probably.
We're going to try.
We're attempting. We have scheduled it. It's on the schedule. That's actually the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
For us. It's on the schedule.
Well, we don't have our pig sitter set up.
You have a little eyelash. But that's okay because our cousins' children can come and be slaves.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's get on to some of these comments here from, let's see. So if you play the first Twitter after the article there. So article Twitter. Yeah. This is the service that less than an hour after Pastor Artur Pawlowski's, I missed a W, hosted when I posted it on Facebook. This illegal church service in Calgary.
That's how you spell it.
When I posted it on Facebook, I missed a W. He was sworn by police and arrested.
After this right here that we're about to watch?
After this.
Okay.
This is Pastor Pawlowski. He's actually recording this for people. We'll play it in 7 seconds. So here's Pawlowski's in the front. So I can dance. There he is with the camera. Pawlowski is going to need a bigger church.
That's a fact.
And when I was preparing
I have
this
goosebumps.
show,
I have goosebumps.
when I was preparing this show right now, we are all at Pastor Pawlowski's church today.
That's right.
And so what the enemy created for evil and trying to lock him
shut
down
down Pawlowski.
and trying to shut him down has given him an audience of millions of people around the world. Hey, devil, did you calculate that into your algorithm of evil? Because when there is an algorithm of evil against a Christian who is filled with the power of God, it always turns out that the algorithm of evil works out for your good, works out to build the kingdom of God, people getting saved. Do you know what led to the salvation of so many people? Number one, 12 disciples. All of them but one were killed from the gospel in the
And they tried
way
to kill the
worse
other one.
manner than Pawlowski being arrested. Now, it's not right. And as Christians, we have spread throughout the entire world, and there should be no place on the globe where a Christian is arrested for preaching or the gospel or holding church. We had a man in the UK preaching the gospel from just reading the Bible on a street, and he was arrested the other day.
Holy
Yes.
smokes. He didn't even have a
Now,
congregation.
Pawlowski has
We can call him
this-
Pastor Artur.
Artur.
Everyone
Pastor
knows-
Artur
Everyone knows him as
is
that.
filled with the power and the anointing of God.
Oh man, he's so awesome.
This church is filled with the power and the anointing of God.
Yes,
The UK, I am praying for you.
we are praying for you.
I'm going to start speaking life over to you because when I think of the UK, do not be offended.
Please don't.
I think of just dead fish.
Now, not the people. She means the spiritual life.
The spiritual life in the UK,
Feels a little bit like
it is lacking because all the spiritual Christians filled with life were kicked out. And that is the truth.
Yes.
The Pilgrims came here from the UK, from
Right.
England, because while it was a Christian nation, they went back and forth between, you got to be Catholic, you got to be Protestant, we're going to jail for this, we're going to jail for that. They put John Bunyan in jail. What did he do? He wrote Pilgrim's Progress.
Which was next to the Bible and still is, I think, to this day, the most popular sold book in history.
Yeah. The only way you fight a communist or a socialist or evil or stand up to the Boris Johnsons of this world who pulled one over on you.
Yeah, he did.
He is actually aligned with the Great Reset and those folks in that little
But
Karl
for
Klaus Schwab
hang on,
Great Reset
for,
camp.
For YouTube, there will be a Great Reset that we
There
are
will be.
very excited about.
Yes, God is part of this Great Reset.
God is part. That is such a good way to say
God
that.
is so part of
God
this
is
Great
so
Reset.
part of the Great Reset.
He is great resetting everything.
He is,
and I want you to get excited
resetting
about it.
all.
I want you to get excited about it. There will be a revival in England. There will be a revival in the UK. There will be a revival in Australia. And a lot of these revivals are going to burst out of pockets like in China and things like that. But I'm not overestimating or overstating things that the 21st century revival started at the Health and Freedom Conference.
Yes, it did. Oh my
in
gosh.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, it
3
wasn't
weeks
the
ago.
revival that most people were expecting to see as a revival, like maybe people slain in the spirit or massive healings or even massive salvations.
Right?
This is a revival started in the same vein as the founding fathers. The founding fathers are and in the same vein as the founding fathers of the disciples. When the disciples went to spread the gospel, they were actually among supposed friendlies. These were their Jewish brothers, their Jewish sisters. They were going into the synagogues to say the Messiah has come. The Messiah has come. They were arrested. They were thrown out. They were beaten. They were tortured. You know, to the point where even they wanted to put Lazarus to death. To death after Jesus had raised him from the dead. That is a level of psychosis.
That is. No, it really is.
You know, like, oh my gosh, that blind man is seeing now. We've got to, how do we make him blind
How
again?
do we make him blind again?
That guy was dead, and
should
he is
be
alive
dead.
now, so we're going to kill him because people are following after this guy. We just got to go kill
So
that
hang
guy.
on though. Now's a good time to plug Friday's show. If you guys are new to Resistance Chicks, I'm so glad that you're here. We have so many new followers thanks to Mike Adams' interview and our interview with Mark Baker of Baker's Green Acre. So I'm glad that you're here.
Hola. ¿Cómo está?
Every Friday we do a weekly roundup of news. But this past Friday, we did a Resistance Chicks special. And you talked about, what was it, in John 7?
Death has no... It's a chapter in John. It's not John 7. It's like 13.
Death
12,
has no hold, meaning
it's
Jesus
in
says,
the same
anyone
chapter
who
as Lazarus.
believes on me shall not die. Shall not die.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Not only that, he says, he says that you shall not die. Death, you're alive and you shall not die. It's John chapter 11:25. Jesus says to Martha, brother's dead at this point. He rose again and he died eventually. But yeah. I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he die, he's going to live.
I love it.
And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this?
I do.
You're never going to die. You're never going to die. If you know Jesus, you are never going to die. What Pastor Artur are doing right now is he's bringing life because he knows he can never die.
It's so
And
powerful.
I just want to focus on the fact that while no politician in Canada is talking about Pastor Artur right now,
None.
the world is talking about him.
We'll do
And-
it for you, Canadian politicians.
Yeah.
You should be. Now, wait, I want to read a couple comments. Susan says that it's actually 91 degrees in Tampa right now. That's kind of huge. Let's see. Sean says, algorithm of evil. That's brilliantly a faith. That just sums up Google, Twitter, and Facebook. Now, Tracy says, no, all the Christians left the UK. Not all the Christians left the UK. We're still here.
We gotta get you so filled with the power of God that when you're walking down the street, people just like the demons scream and
Now, to be fair, there are places in the United States that are like Leah's dead fish.
oh, absolutely.
Okay. It's not that it's all of the UK or all of the United States.
So, but
It's not
I'm
all or
looking
nothing.
for, I'm waiting for, I have yet to see out of the UK, and if you guys send me the links, is there a church, is there a pastor filled with the power of God,
Yeah.
preaching the word of God with faith and power and anointing? Send me the link. I will play them.
Yes.
I need to know that there is some fire, and we will help fan that flame.
Yes, we will.
Okay, there's some fire, the power of the Holy Ghost. Is there some Pentecostal churches, charismatic churches, or even just churches that are tired of the lockdowns
Whoa, watch
and
it,
are
we're on
preaching? You can say, I think you can. I've not heard somebody
Okay.
get kicked off for that side. Are tired of the lockdowns, tired of mandates, and then they're using the gospel to preach against that. And to show, bring those to me, because those are the real pastors, and they may be in small churches, they may be in
Doesn't
little
have to be a
corners,
big church.
they may be in little hamlets somewhere.
Artur Pawlowski's church is not huge.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Artur's church there maybe holds 150 people on a good day, on a squeezed in day. Okay, I want you to know that no matter where you're at, no matter how small it seems that your team of faith is, look at Pastor Artur. Your time is going to come.
Yes.
The time is coming for these minuscule type preachers, these small guys here and there, and there very well could be several of them.
Now, Phoebe
dotted
says, are you
all
talking
over
about the UK or anywhere? We're specifically talking about the UK. We have plenty of pastors like that here in the United States, but we need a lot more. We need a lot more.
We need a lot more. And they're popping up here. And they're popping up here in the United States. There's only a handful here in the United States, but there are some.
Yeah.
We've seen Pastor Artur there. The Grace Life Church there is the other pastor who wouldn't shut down. Not exactly a man I would call
Pastor Coates.
Pastor Coates. He didn't seem to be one of the on
Fiery
fire Pentecostal,
one,
but the
but
fire was
obviously the
inside
fire
of
was
him.
in
It was
there.
inside of him, and so he's fighting. And what I mean is God is shining the light, because the devil is going after the people who are truly filled with the light and the gospel, but God is using those people, raising them up. Is not using, necessarily the big churches anymore.
Right.
Riding Howard Brown and Rhema exceptions, as they have allowed the light to shine through them.
Now, Gomad said something really important. You don't need a church to show your faith. 100%.
You do not.
But what's happening right now is the churches, the spotlights are on the churches. And if you go to a church that is not open right now, you probably need to find a different one.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm gonna agree with that. This photographer works for Trudeau's CBC state broadcaster. But you knew that because of the joy he expresses to see a man arrested at gunpoint for going to church, except it's fake news. That's not Artur Pawlowski. It's his brother, Dawid, and it was arrested at the same time. So here is this other guy, and it was his brother. And this is the image of the day. Pastor Artur Pawlowski being arrested today in Calgary. Being a jerk has its consequences. He doesn't seem to be laughing now. I bet he's yelling, "Get me out." Next up, KJJ when he goes to the remand to protest. Now, he hashtags pastor arrest and COVID and all this stuff. Ezra Levant tweets out, 1 death today in Canada. Now, if you didn't know, like we didn't know the population of Canada, I'm going to tell you, 38 million people in the entire vast acreage.
Canada is
how many square?
huge.
Somebody tell me the square miles of the Canadian provinces. It's absolutely huge. America has 330 million people, and in America, Texas. What's the? It's ranked 217th in population density.
3.3 people per square mile. I don't know math that well, but I think it's
What's
more
the
than 6 feet.
population of Texas?
I'm just saying I think it's more than 6 feet apart.
What's the population of Texas?
Okay.
Google the population of Texas for me. There are 273 people
per 1,000
per
people.
1,000. Just Google the population of Texas for me for a second. I'm
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure that you could fit the entire population of Canada and just switch it into Texas. Yeah, about 29 million people in Texas, the state of Texas.
As of 2 years ago.
38 million
I'm sure that's actually
in Canada.
That's got to be more because half of California is in Texas right now.
And why is this important? This is important because Texas is open. Florida is open. Ohio, comparatively to Canada, is paradise. Okay? Walked into Walmart with my face on today. He asked me if
You walked on with your face on.
Yeah, he asked me if I wanted something, and I said no thank you.
No thanks.
I'm coming to get the things that I need.
I'm coming to get those things we need.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
proud
coming
of
to
you.
get the things I need. All right. Calgary police, this is CBC News, arrest street preacher, great pictures here, brother for violating public health orders. Calgary police have arrested 2 organizers of a church service who have been defying public health restrictions throughout the pandemic on Saturday. Artur and David Pawlowski were charged with organizing an illegal in-person gathering, inciting or inviting others to attend an illegal gathering, as well as promoting. You know what, they used to say that about first Christians as well. And that's why they met in the caves
Not
underground.
just the first Christians, but many Christians after the
pretty
pilgrims.
in China.
I mean,
Yeah.
even now in China.
Yeah, as well as promoting and attending the gathering. Earlier this week, Alberta Health Services obtained a Court of Queen's Bench order that applied to gatherings such as protests, demonstrations, and rallies. AHS officials already took action using the order against the Whistle Stop Cafe in Mirror, Alberta. Oh, is that Alberta? Physically closing the restaurant on Wednesday. Rebel News has been covering Whistle Stop in advance of a planned anti-mask protest. Canada, 3 people per square mile. 38 million people in the entire square mileage.
Which I have that square mileage
of Canada.
It's the same size as the United States, roughly.
Okay. On Saturday, that protest went ahead after the RCMP officers ticketed those leaving the event.
Actually, Canada's actually slightly larger than
And
the
arrested.
United States.
I mean, I recognize part of it is uninhabitable, up there in the Arctic zone, but you get our point. Most of Canada, I think, is uninhabitable. I don't know why you live there. It's way too cold, but whatever do you think? In a release, police said Pawlowski's acknowledged the injunction, but chose to ignore requirements for social distancing, mask wearing, and reduced capacity limits for attendees, and went ahead with the event. Throughout the pandemic, the brothers have held large, maskless gatherings and have denied health officials entry to the church, which is located...
And those videos have gone viral for a reason.
Yeah. The
Just saying.
AHS has said previously that attempts by health inspectors to enter the church have been met with abusive language and racial slurs. Really?
Really?
I think he called them some Nazis.
Is that racial, though?
Is that racial?
It's only racial if you're German.
All right. On Saturday, video from the scenes showed one of the church leaders scream at police, comparing the officers to Nazis. In another live stream video following the Pawlowski's arrest, mayoral candidate Kevin J. Johnston said if elected, he is prepared to arm himself and go to the homes of health officials who have taken enforcement actions against the church.
What?
Artur Pawlowski was fined last year for failing to adhere to COVID restrictions because he fed the homeless. They forgot that line.
They didn't put, and I am so
He
sick
was
and tired
outside
of this edited
in below
journalism.
freezing temperatures.
You should have seen it.
Feeding the homeless.
This was on last Sunday's show.
The
of Resistance
homeless.
Chicks. He's covered from head to toe in
It is
it's
very cold.
It's so cold, like big puffy coat, like a winter suit and like hat with like fur and stuff. And he's out there in that weather feeding the homeless, and that is why they are mad at him.
He's drawn controversy
That's thinking.
for saying that Calgary's flooding in 2013 was caused by God's tears over homosexuality.
I've never heard that before.
Pawlowski has also been a speaker at several anti-mask rallies in Calgary. On Saturday afternoon, police attended the site of a planned anti-face covering rally in Northeast Calgary, advertised as a massive exposure rally.
So
It was advertised as a massive exposure rally.
exposure rally
wearing a
because
mask.
you are exposed. Excuse me, we got a 311 over here. These people are not fully covered in their faces. But seriously, so I think that we need to do some code words for people if we're going to be on YouTube. So we want to refer to the thing with the thing as the serum.
The serum.
That's the new word. Okay, it's going to be called the serum. I learned that, I think, from Dr. Lee Merritt. And then we are going to refer to this as the...
Indecent exposure. The exposure?
No, well,
I like
that's...
that
I
one.
mean, if it's actually covered.
Oh.
Okay. I like the way that the British call it. It's a face nappy.
I don't know. That still might catch you.
You think they'll get you on that one?
They might.
You think the algorithms have face nappy written in them?
They might. I don't know. Face nappy. The face nappy.
But if we put an accent on it, will they catch it? Face nappy.
Would you play in the words of Pastor Artur, let's just hear what he has to say over here on with Jesse Kelly. Move to the left one. There we go.
All right, 1 minute. 1 minute. This is the tech team right here. We get paid big bucks.
Tech team. It's muted.
Is it?
Cops come knocking on your door?
Well, simply because I have read the Bible, and not just once, but many times. And in my Bible, Jesus commands us to go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. He also says in the word of God that we are to follow the lion, not a hyena, the lion from the tribe of Judah. We are a pack of lions, and lions never bow before hyenas.
Pastor, a lot of people don't realize your background. They don't understand why. There's this guy in Canada fighting against the cops. I don't understand. Would you please explain where you came from and what you saw and why you fight like you fight?
Well, I grew up behind the Iron Curtain under the boots of the Soviets. So those things are, it's like a repetition of history in front of my eyes. I grew up in Poland hearing the stories from my grandparents about what the Nazis did, what the Gestapo did. And we have to remember that history is teaching us that history can be repeated. Adolf Hitler was democratically elected And he didn't just invaded Europe overnight. It took him over 10 years to implement his plans. And he was using the brown shirts. He was using the Gestapo. He was using the Wehrmacht. He was using people to implement his tyranny. We have to understand that Hitler, there is no recorded incident that Hitler actually shot anyone himself. He was sending those types of people that were just simply obeying their orders, and they did his dirty work. So for me, it's a repetition of history. I've seen the abuse of power in Poland. I've seen the communistic, socialistic party that under that regime, you had absolutely no rights. The police could come to your house, break 5 a.m, beat you up, torture you, throw you in jail, and there was absolutely nothing you could do about it.
How did you get here? How did you end up in Canada? How did you end up in North America?
Well, my father escaped in 1989, and we joined him a year later. We had to escape on a boat because the government would not give us visas to leave the country. So we hired a boat. We went first to Istanbul, Turkey, and then from Turkey, we escaped to Greece, Athens. And we started a business over there. We were living in 50 kilometers from Athens, Agios Apostolios, a little town, for 5 years. And the Canadian government opened its borders and said, hey, we want people like you. We want young business people. You know, Canada is a wonderful country. No one here will persecute you for your faith. Bring your business, bring your money, bring your family, and start all over again. And that's exactly what we did.
Pastor, what I don't understand is why the West doesn't see the things you're describing, because I've never grown up behind the Iron Curtain. I didn't come from Poland. The Soviets were never in charge of my family. I was born here in America and raised here in America, but I can read history books, and they tell me exactly what it's like. And I do see the correlation, and I explain it to people on my show all the time. You had better be careful, because these people are all 1 inch away from doing that. Why can't the rest of Western society see the things you're describing?
Well, first of all, we have to understand that mainstream media is completely controlled by the government. It's a state media. It's not the free media. And that's exactly what the communists and the fascists were doing. First, you have to control what people are hearing and seeing. And then you have to educate them, but their style. So changing history or not teaching history whatsoever. So you have to occupy the political arena, you have to occupy the educational system, health system, and the mainstream media. And when you got all those ingredients, then you can tell people whatever you want them to believe and see. So people are not educated, and they have been comfortable for too long. They have this idea of saying this will never happen here, this will never happen in America. Well, it's happening right now, and now the question is, what are you going to do about it? Because the enemy is not approaching, the enemy is not at the gate, the enemy is already within our walls, and now we have to oppose it. So apathy, people were uninterested, they had too good for too long, they became fat and lazy, if you will, spiritually as well. And they just don't want to fight anymore. They got too much to lose. But as people are losing, just like we were losing under the communistic dictatorship in Poland, then they will be more inclined to rise up and stand up and fight. Peaceful non-compliance. Simply, like I say to people, you gotta just say 3 words, really. No, I will not bow before your tyranny. I will not bow before this dictatorship. You have no rights to do what you're doing to me. No, and then get out. No, get out. Get out of my business. Get out of my church. Get out of my home. Get out of our political arena, educational system, healthcare system. Get out, you're Nazis.
I love him.
So, guys, I
so
want you to
much.
stick with me, because you know that I have a lot of things to say, and I've been watching a lot of programs that you guys have been sending me, and I've learned some information, and not even so much that I've learned some, but I've been sometimes you just need to be solidified in what you know. So there's a lot of information that I've been solidified in. So towards the second half of this, not even the second half, but the back quarter of the show, you're going to get the best stuff. You're going to get the uncensored stuff. Leah and Michelle uncensored, which is quite hilarious.
I love it. I love the way that sounds.
Because we
Leah
don't-
and Michelle uncensored. It's like when you buy those Well, we never have. I've seen them in the store, and I've seen them at my clients' houses, by the way. You buy the movie, and then it says, whatever movie it is, uncensored. And it makes it sound like it's a really bad thing. So I like it. Because it makes people
we are
wonder.
rebels with the cause. I'm
rebels.
very excited to be a rebel with the cause.
We're called the Resistance Chicks.
We are. So play on the next Twitter feed thing I have got. A protest against the Colombian government was held in Toronto City Hall yesterday. Protesting is illegal here. So this reporter asked if police ticketed anyone like they did at the anti-lockdown rally.
Today.
So we're technically protesting because the government is killing people in Colombia. The police are killing protesters. Why are we protesting? I'll tell you why. Pretty much Colombia became, they got in like this huge debt, international debt. The government decided to tax domestic products such as eggs, milk, etc. Right? They do not help the people. They pretty much, the people wanted to protest that against the government. The government got mad. They don't want to protest. They started killing us. They started hiring, infiltrating police within the protest. They're shooting at us. Like they, in Cali, which is like a city from Colombia, they pretty much cut all the Wi-Fi there. They don't want the people sharing what's actually happening there, right? They want us to be silent, but we're not silent. This is a different country. Right now we're in Canada protesting. We want Colombia to be heard, and we're just trying to spread awareness.
So these are Colombian people protesting in Canada.
We are protesting because the government wants to do a reform, a true reform about like taxes, and they want to implement more taxes for the poor people and for pretty much everyone. And the mid class, it's now becoming the poor class too. So we're protesting because they're also killing more than 39 people by now, and those are the ones they count. But as we know, there are more than 300 people that are like lost. We don't know where they are. So we're protesting because of that. We want to show our support here in Canada, even though we're not in Canada.
Today, did the Toronto police give you any hardship? Since there's a stay-at-home order, protesting is illegal. There was an early protest in the morning, the anti-lockdown protest, and the police arrested a couple people and handed out tickets. Did they give you any similar hardships?
Or what we know, we didn't get anything. They were just like pretty much emptying the space so we can pass through, but nothing happened to us.
Well, that's good to hear then. All right, thank you, sir. Did they did the same thing to you?
As far as I know, no.
Okay, that's great. All right then. All right, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
You
Can
too.
we join forces?
Yeah, I think that's great.
I think it's a good idea here to join some forces here, because I could totally dig an anti-Colombian government protest and a freedom protest. Let's just join together and the Colombians can give you some cover. You know, I'll carry your flag, you carry mine, we're good to go. Yeah. Next tweet here. This was projected onto Big Ben at the House of Parliament last night.
Oh dear. Okay, you don't want to read that out loud, do you?
Lockdowns kill more people than COVID. No, I think
said-
that one's okay.
Are you sure? Because we're on YouTube. All right.
Trudeau is censorship crazy. Says a censorship minister. Guess what he wants to do? He wants to regulate large YouTube accounts.
Just the big ones?
Yeah, Rebel News is by far Canada's largest independent YouTube channel with more than 1.4 million subscribers. And they're suing him. Says CTV News, minister suggests with Bill C-10, CRTC could regulate online content if account has large enough following.
Meaning, if you're big enough to actually sway the people, you are not allowed to have a voice.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah. Let me see how long this video is. Play the beginning of this so you can understand what's going on here as Rebel News is
okay.
Suing here.
Go Rebel News. This is on Rumble. Okay.
We're suing Catherine McKenna and Stephen Gilbert. We're suing the government, and I'll tell you why. Stop and think about how important it is to get information from the government. I mean, just think about your taxes. Well, what's the deadline? What are the rules? What are the special rules for the pandemic? Or think about all the government rules around getting a job or losing a job. Or just think about all the rules about garbage pickup on your street. What can go in which bin, what days the pickup are, etc. You could apply this for any conceivable activity regulated by government. I mean, don't get me started on the bizarre, unscientific, punitive, and ever-changing rules about the pandemic. I think we all hate rules a bit, but we need to know what the rules are, even the dumb ones, and especially the ones that really impact our lives. I mean, I don't plan on being a beekeeper, so I won't study those rules, but I'm in the media business, so those are pretty important to me. But now imagine if the government officials in charge of my industry, an industry that you care about, had banned me from receiving news and updates and announcements and information from that government department. I'm banned. Just me. Not the whole world, just me. Because I am. I am specifically blocked from following the official government Twitter account of the Minister of Canadian Heritage. As you'll know, that's the Ministry of Media Bailouts and the Ministry of Censorship. I'm not kidding, those are literally the first and second items on the minister's job description in his official mandate letter from Trudeau. This government department, more than any other, affects how we operate at Rebel News.
You can pause
and
there,
indeed,
you get
if
it.
we can even still exist.
So here's a little bit of news you may not have known. The BBC has proudly posted that it is on it when it comes to Twitter and anyone posting in the voice of Donald J. Trump. They have not admitted, but proudly said that they have reported 4 accounts to Twitter that said from the desk of Donald J. Trump, because Donald J. Trump has a new website, if you're not aware. Now, some people have created Twitter accounts, just random people. But the BBC wants you to know that they're on it, Twitter. If they see anybody, and if they see Trump trying to do anything on Twitter, they're going to report that to Twitter. I haven't seen them report anything on like child porn or anything. Like say, you know, we saw this pornography site and we posted that to Twitter. In Germany this week, the largest, I don't know if it's the largest one in Germany, the largest child sex trafficking site, porn site, abuse site, was shut down. 400,000 users on this child abuse site.
Praise the Lord.
That's really good news. But the BBC is more concerned with people posting words from Trump. Why didn't they go and investigate? Why aren't they investigating? You know, there's child abuse all over the UK. There's all kinds of abuse. But they just don't want Trump tweeting. Those are the important things in life. I get it. They're going after, it seems like the worst type of childish school, I'm going to tell on you stuff. I was told as a kid, you're not supposed to tattletale. Weren't you told that in the UK?
Right.
Like, that's a tattletale.
Right.
We told Twitter. Now, you know what they said? We haven't heard back from them or not, but we did it. But we did our duty.
Good job, BBC. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
now here.
How much do you have left for Canada?
Here's another one here.
Well, no, I want to know because Brit Girl says she can come on.
Oh, okay.
So what we're going to do is we'll probably have...
we're not going to be on YouTube.
That's what I'm getting at. So we'll finish our Canadian segment.
Okay.
And then we will pull up Skype. What I'm thinking, actually, I want to hear... She was at the London protest rally, whatever you want to call it, last week. And then they did something again today. So I want to hear about that.
Okay, well, go ahead and bring up this video here. This is why Trudeau doesn't want Canadians to travel. He doesn't want us to see that the rest of the world is returning to normalcy. This is why the Canadian lockdown enforcers have gone full North Korea. This is actually, London, England is more free than Canada.
Wow.
And there are people there walking around without masks.
Outside?
Lots of people there in London without masks outside.
This is fantastic.
Okay, well, before we do that, then let's do the other topic of this real quick that I told you to do.
Can cover on YouTube.
Marine LePen. I don't know if you guys knew this, but
All right, hang on a second. Let me pause this.
3 or 4 years ago, it's 2017. She came under intense fire, and they were looking for any way to out Marine Le Pen.
Right.
And she's had this case hanging overhead. Her parliamentary immunity was taken away because of a photo that she shared. This is ISIS, and it was a beheading picture.
Right.
And she has had a case in court for the past 4 years. Finally,
I love this woman
finally
so much.
this week, the French court has finally thrown out this hate crime charge against Marine Le Pen and the Islamic State pictures. So the Nanterre Correctional Court has thrown out charges against the populist MP Marine Le Pen and MEP Gilbert Collard after the pair posted images of Islamic State abuses on Twitter in 2015. The Nanterre court ruled on Tuesday that the publication of the images by Miss Le Pen and Miss Collard was part of a political protest process and contributes to public debate, and rejected the prosecutor's demand for the pair to be fined just about $6,000. The court also noted that the two politicians were not endorsing the acts by the terror groups, as images were accompanied by commentary that stated the pair had the right to freedom of expression. In February, Le Pen, who leads the national rally, denounced the proceedings as a political trial, and it most certainly was. The two politicians had posted the images in 2015 in response to French journalist Jean-Jacques Bourdin comparing the Front National, which was later rebranded to the National Rally, to the Islamic State, a comparison Collard and Le Pen called unacceptable at the time. During the February hearing, Collard, a member of the European Parliament, defended the post, saying that if a Holocaust denier confronted him, he should be able to show them evidence in the form of pictures, adding, "If I am facing someone who denies violence against women, can't I show pictures?" The Nanterre court ruling marks the end of a years-long case against the two populist politicians that saw Le Pen stripped of her parliamentary immunity in 2017 when she was an MEP, and the pair initially threatened with prison sentences up to 3 years and 75,000 euros. Their victory also comes as polls ahead of next year's French presidential elections have favored Miss Le Pen to reach the second round of the vote, meaning she could actually face President Macron and act in a rematch of 2017, and a year from now could see her president of France. And so we're putting our full weight and support behind her with that. A study from the Jean Jaurès Foundation released last month outlined the possible scenarios that could lead to Le Pen winning the second round and becoming the next French president, including hatred of Macron and voter abstention. So people just not coming out to vote for Macron and people coming out to vote for Le Pen. It's a year away. I'm excited. Things are definitely moving and shaking. So yeah, I had a few other things that weren't really important. Do you guys want a seat in a by-election in the UK? The Tories took a seat from a Labour person in a by-election. That was kind of really big.
That is a big deal.
And we'll let Brit Girl here talk about the mayoral race. We know that Sadiq was going to win, but by less votes. So there's some change going on there, and maybe she can speak to that. So yeah, let's go.
All right, so here's the deal. I just put in the chat on YouTube. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, go to resistancechicks.com. Click on today's show, and you can see the list. All you have to do is click on the link. You can also watch Facebook. It's embedded. You can just watch it straight from the website, or you can click on DLive or Twitch or CloutHub or wherever else you want to watch it. But here's the deal. You guys like us because we're real, and we tell the truth, and we actually don't censor ourselves. And so we want to be able to give you the best of Resistance Chicks, and we just are not able to do that.
Well, and Brit Girl has been taken off of YouTube several times.
And that's a fact. All right, so we're going to say goodbye to YouTube. We love you guys.
Because she's awesome.
Go everywhere else, disperse, and we thank you guys